Hello children, I am Mrs. Sumita here, your grade 5 teacher. Welcome to social online classes for grade 5 from Pragati the school. Children, today we will move on to the second chapter, that is Latitudes and Longitudes. Topics to be covered in this chapter, that is describing about Earth, parallels or latitudes, important parallels or latitudes, meridians or longitudes, difference between the parallels and meridians, locating places on the globe. Yes, students, we have learned that the earth is spherical in shape. The globe is also designed in the same manner. Globe is nothing but it is the spherical representation of the earth. To note that our earth rotates on its imaginary fixed line called the axis. The axis is slightly tilted at an angle of 23.5 degree. Hence, the globe is also tilted slightly at an angle of 23.5 degrees. The northernmost part of the axis is called North Pole and the southernmost part of the axis is called the South Pole. As well, children, you all know that the only planet which has life is planet Earth. And where do we all live? On the planet Earth. Children, the Earth completes one rotation within a span of 33 hours, 56 minutes, 4.1 seconds. Roughly, it is taken as 24 hours. These lines do not actually exist on the earth but are circles drawn round the earth. They are very useful to locate places on the earth or to give directions about a place. Children, on the globe, these lines are just imaginary lines to know exactly the places where it is located. Here children, parallels or latitudes. When we look at a globe or a map, we notice that Earth is covered by many vertical and horizontal lines. These are imaginary lines. The latitudes is measured in degrees. They are set of horizontal lines that run from east to west across the globe. The distance between the latitudes are equal and they are also called as parallels of latitudes. The circumference of the earth is larger at the equator and as we move towards the pole it decreases and it becomes a point. Yeah, children, let us see now what is equator. The equator is an imaginary line round the earth, equidistant from the pole. Equidistance means the equal distance between the North Pole and the South Pole. It is also called the Great Circle of the Earth. The equator is marked on the globe as 0 degree latitude. The part of the earth that lies north of the equator is called the northern hemisphere and the part that lies to the south of the equator is called the southern hemisphere. Here children, let us see 90 latitudes in the northern hemisphere numbered as 1 to 90 followed by the letter N which stands for north, and here 90 latitude in the southern hemisphere followed by letter S stands for south. So along with the equator there are 181 latitudes in the globe. Important parallels or latitudes. Students, apart from the equator, the North Pole and the South Pole, there are other 4 important parallels or latitudes on the earth. They are Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, Arctic Circle, and Antarctic Circle. Let us see one by one where they lie. Degrees. Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degrees north of the equator. Tropic of Capricorn at 23.5 degrees south of the equator. Arctic Circle at 66.5 degrees north of the equator. Antarctic Circle at 66.5 degrees south of the equator. Children, the Arctic and Antarctic circles are also called polar circles. It is called so because polar circle is a geographical term for conditional circular lines or arc. Meridians or longitudes. Meridians or longitudes are a set of semicircular imaginary lines that run from north to south all over the globe. They are drawn from North Pole to South Pole. Children, can you all guess the distance between the longitude is larger to the equator? Because the earth shape is spherical. As we move towards the pole, distance between the longitude becomes smaller. In the year 1884, it was decided to number meridians starting with the meridian line which passes through Greenwich near London is called prime meridian. It was marked as 0 degree meridian or prime meridian. Prime meridian divides the earth into two, eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere. Thus, a meridian east of the prime meridian is marked as E, which stands for east, and those west of it is marked as W, which stands for west. The meridian 180 degree east and the meridian 180 degree west is one and the same. Both east and west fall on the same line on both sides. Thus, it is known as international date line. So total there are 360 meridians, 180 degree east plus 180 degree west. And this is the prime meridian sculpture at Greenwich, London. Children, till now we learned what is parallels or latitudes, meridians or longitudes in detail. Now let us see difference between the parallels and the meridians. Parallels are horizontal circles, meridians are vertical and semicircular lines. Parallels run in east-west direction, meridians run in north-south directions. Total number of parallels is 181, 90 in the each hemisphere and equator. Total meridian are 360, 180 in the east and 180 in the west direction. 0 degree latitude is called the equator or the great circle. 0 degree longitude is called the Greenwich or the prime meridian. They are parallel to one another. They are not parallel. They meet at the poles. Length of the latitude decreases as we move towards the poles. All longitudes are of the same length. Locating of places on the globe. Parallels and meridians form a network of lines that is called grid. We can locate a place on a map or a globe with the help of the latitude and longitude lines passing through it. The point where the latitude and longitude intersect or cross each other is the location of the place. Children, India is a very vast country. It lies entirely in the northern hemisphere. The mainland extends between latitudes 8 degrees 4 minutes north and 37 degrees 6 minutes north, and about longitudes 68 degrees 7 minutes east and 97 degrees 25 minutes east. The Tropic of Cancer, 23 degrees 30 minutes north, divides the country into almost two equal parts. To the south, east and southwest of the mainland lie the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Lakshadweep Islands in Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea respectively. Children, now let us see the quick glance from this chapter. Latitudes and longitudes are imaginary lines drawn on a globe. The latitudes are 90 plus 90 plus equator, and that is 181 in all. Latitudes are parallel to east to west circles. Equator 0 degree is the biggest circle. 90-degree north latitude at the North Pole and 90-degree south latitude at the South Pole are just points. Meridians are the imaginary 360 semicircles meeting at the North and South Poles. 0-degree longitude or prime meridian is also called the Greenwich meridian. The network of parallels and meridians is called a grid. We can locate a place with the help of latitudes and longitudes passing through it. Yes, children, at last in this lesson you have some we should know portions. Let us go through that. The equator is an imaginary line round the earth equidistant from the poles. It is called the Great Circle. The word latitude comes from the Latin word latus, which means wide. The word meridian comes from the Latin word meridus, which means midday. Hipparchus, Greek astronomer, adopted the Babylonian system of dividing a circle into 360 degrees, and we use it today to mark longitudes or meridians. By this, we are ending this chapter called Latitudes and Longitudes. Thank you for watching, children.